Hello, brothers and sisters. Me again with simple meditation on the Word of God and a specific subject suffering. Specifically, maybe physical suffering, but suffering of all kind. I've heard too many times God doesn't send suffering, God doesn't hurt people. It's not just faith healers and more charismatic folks. I've heard many times the idea that physical suffering, sickness doesn't come from God. That's evil, and that's not what God does. That comes from Satan. Let's see what God says. It is in the old covenant, but still the same God, though. Do not forget, this is God talking about himself, and he says, "See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God beside me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. And there's none that can deliver out of my hand." Wait, are you talking about Satan here? No, God. When Moses is approached by God to go deliver the people, he says, "I can't because I have a certain kind of speech impediment," right? He says, "Lord, I'm not good for talking." Here's what God says to him: "Who has made man's mouth? Who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord?" Oh, wait, no, no, no. The devil makes us blind and God makes us see. That's not what he says. God, again, this isn't about covenants. This is about who God is. He says everything comes from me. He speaks of that also through the prophets. In Amos, he says these frightening words: "Is a trumpet blown in a city, and the people are not afraid? Does disaster come to a city unless the Lord has done it?" By the way, the word disaster here is a very general term for any kind of evil, actually. God says, "I'm the one who's done that." God doesn't defend himself when it comes to these so called bad things. He says, "I bring them, but I also bring healing. I'm the one who's sovereign." So whenever somebody tells you God doesn't bring sickness, God doesn't bring suffering, God doesn't do that kind of stuff, you take them to the Word of God and say, "Yes, He does, but He also brings healing." What He calls us to do is to trust Him instead and realize that He is God. Stop making the devil more important than God. God's the one who gives life and takes it away. He's the one that hurts, but He's the one that heals. Because it's all about Him. May this be a good reminder to us. It's all about God. It is from Him and for Him that all things. And this, brothers and sisters, be blessed.